Hey friends, this video that you're about to see is a presentation that I gave to a bunch of students in Malaysia. They invited me to, yeah, sorry, there's a little distraction. My girlfriend's playing with some slime. And I got back pretty late today, so I thought I'd share this video with you and hopefully it brings you some value. This video, I'd say if you're a 20-year-old or if you're a college student, would be very relatable because there's a Q&A session in there where they ask their own personal questions. And I hope you enjoy the video. So with that, let's begin.
For those who cannot make it today.
Yes. And you are Denise, right?
Yes. Hi. Hello.
Hi.
Grace is in chat, as is Michelle. And
okay.
apparently,
Grace and Michelle.
Oh my God, how many students? At least over 20 students.
Okay, great.
Okay, so I'm gonna do the official, slightly formal thing of introducing you as a speaker, and then you can take it away. For Unirazak students and everybody in chat, if you'd like to turn on your mics, if you'd like to turn on your cameras, please do. And please ask questions through your mic. If you're a bit shy and you want to use the chat, I will be looking at the chat to catch questions, and then I will ask after, when there's space. Who the heck? Who is the one and only? Okay, anyway. Okay, so I'm going to do the formal thing now. All right. Our speaker for today is an American travel vlogger and YouTuber and actor currently in Malaysia. As a child, he was extremely shy and introverted, but now he speaks without hesitation to thousands of strangers every day. Please give a warm welcome to Curtis Fu. Yay, you can clap.
Thank you.
I'm going to mute now.
Oh, well, hello everyone. My name is Curtis. I'm very happy to be here. I've actually had some history with Unirazak because I'm sure most of you know, all of you know Grace. Grace is the reason that I'm actually in Malaysia, or I even got to know Malaysia. And right when I got here, she had taken me to take a tour around Unirazak, and I've just made so many friends there. And then now it's a pleasure and an honor to be able to speak to Unirazak students as yourself. So I really would like to get into the Q&As as soon as possible but from what I know, a lot of you are stuck in this pandemic, so a lot of your classes have to be online. So something that I heard was of interest to you guys is how to speak more confidently in front of the camera, I guess, or in front of all these people who you can't really see. Like, for example, I can only see Denise right now, but I know there's a lot of other people watching. And along that line. So from my personal experience, like Denise mentioned, I was very shy before and very introverted. And part of that was to do with, I didn't feel like what I had to say deserved to be heard. I felt like, sorry, there's a little water going on. I felt like I couldn't bring value to people, so I had to mumble every word. So whenever I spoke, wasn't really sure if people should hear what I said. So I kind of just went, and just in case like what I said was good, then it's a good thing. But if what I said was like a bad idea, then nobody heard it. So speaking confidently, I feel like it has a lot to do with believing in what you have to offer. Know that all of you, there's so many people in here. There's 30, 40, 50 people in here. Each and every one of you grew up differently than I did. You've had different experiences, you have different hobbies, you have different things that you've invested your time in. So that makes you unique. Whatever you have to say, you can bring some value to the table with your personality or just with your experiences. So don't be shy and think that, what if I say the wrong thing, or what if I have to say isn't of value at all? Because it is. Your perspective, as long as you're being genuine, you're being yourself, is very interesting. And also when you're speaking, try not to be perfect, because there is no such thing as perfect. What makes us interested in a speaker is their uniqueness and their real raw emotions. Can you do the water later, dear? Sorry, we're currently at home, as you know, quarantine. It's very raw. It's very real right now. And I think that's also the beauty of speaking. You want it to be real and in real time, because if you're speaking like a robot, no one would be interested. A perfect presentation would be, okay, hello everyone, my introduction, what I'm talking about today, and then we're going to go into details 1 through 5, and by the end, everybody will be asleep. They want what's real. They want the mistakes. They want your personality, those laughs in between, the awkward silences, whatever. That's you. You're bringing that to the table. So with that, I kind of lost track of where I am, but I would really like to know what you guys are interested in so that I can directly answer that, because if I can just keep on going and then lose track of everybody. So if you have any questions, just go ahead and let me know.
Guys, anyone?
Hello? Anyone? Okay, I'll continue talking then until somebody is actually curious about a question, because I just don't want anybody to leave without having their questions answered. So speaking, basically you can look up everything online, but I'll just give you a quick few tips, because your biggest friend right now is Google. You just type in how to speak more confidently, way to capture attention, and there's so many of that. But for me, number one is to speak clearly. So speak loudly and make sure people can hear you, because if they can't hear you, that's a big no-no. If I'm just speaking like this, people won't be interested in what I'm talking about, because they don't know. I'm not even confident in what I'm talking about. Hold up. Can you move everything to the side, dear? Very distracting. She was like completely silent before the meeting, and then as soon as the meeting started, she's getting all in action. Yeah, so speaking to the audience as if you have something important to bring them, what I was talking about earlier, bringing value. And then you want to speak to them as your friends. You don't want to have this formal thing going on, because that leaves a distance in between, especially nowadays. It's all about relatability. You want to let the audience know that you're on the same level. That's why they are willing to listen to you. And also share a little bit of your background. So that was very, very helpful. Oh, got cut off. Very helpful that Denise gave an introduction. So you guys know that I am an influencer. I have about 500,000 followers right now. And I didn't always start out that way. I started with just one person following me, which was my mom, and then just friends around, and then slowly building that up. And the way I built that up was by always seeking to speak to them as a friend. Whenever I would record a video, it would be a video that I could just send to my mom. So whenever you guys are speaking in front of this cell phone or camera or whatever it is that you're looking on, just think of it as you're speaking to your other friends. You don't have to think about, okay, there's all these people here. If you're speaking to one person in your mind, then that is a lot more acceptable for all the other people watching. Even if there's like 10,000 people watching, because I've had videos where they've had over 1 million views, but when I was speaking to the camera, I was imagining only one person. I just wanted to share my story to that friend. And when you're speaking so personally to one person, each and every person that watches your video or is listening to your presentation, they feel that. They feel it becoming personal. But if I'm just speaking like you're so far away, oh yeah, all of you Unirazak students, my name is Curtis. I'm just doing my own thing, and I'm not really caring about what you have to say or how your day is going. Then it's not personal, and there's no reason to listen. Let's see, I've had some notes here. Another thing with loud and clear, yes. And cut out it's the basics, because you cut out the ums, you cut out all the filler words. It's okay to have silence in your speeches if that's what you're going for, because the silent is like everybody's honing in on, well, what are you going to say next? But if I'm just procrastinating, then you get kind of boring. So with that, would anybody like to throw in some questions so I know exactly what to answer for you guys? anything about video creation, social media, what college is like,
I do
any of
have a
that?
question, sir.
Yeah.
Uh,
Okay.
just out of curiosity, my name is Rashad, by the way. A big fan.
Rashai?
I watched some of your videos before today. Just wanted to see who's this Curtis Fu, interesting guy here. So I was watching your why I bleach my hair and eyebrows video last night. Actually, love the video, by the way. Just
Awesome,
letting you know.
awesome.
So, quick question. For you, are you in your way, are you more of an impromptu speaker, or you're more confident when you already have your whatever you want to talk about already listed down? Which kind of speaker for you is the best kind of speaker? Those who are able to do impromptu, or those who have already everything they need to talk about right in front of them ready?
Rayshaw, I think that's a wonderful question because it's different for every person. I don't think there's one best style, but you have to know what works for you. So as someone who likes to be impromptu, I would always go for just whatever is on the spot. So right now, if you guys threw me a question like this or something different, I'm perfectly comfortable with it. However, I will still have a couple points. For example, okay, I want an introduction. I want some middle stuff. Maybe there's 3 points I want to hit. And then what do I want everybody to take away with? In between that is kind of a blur. It can be anything. Whatever is happening on the spot for me, it keeps it lively. And then if I'm noticing something in the audience, if I'm noticing something outside, if I'm noticing that there's stuff going on in my kitchen, that's all normal for me because I can share that with people and let them know exactly what's going on so they feel it real time. But for some people, they are more comfortable with having every single thing listed out, which is perfectly okay because you're always on point. You're saving everybody's time. You're being precise and you're being you. If that's what works for you, that's perfectly okay. Just make sure that when you're delivering all your 1 to 20 points, you're not just reading it off. Because if you're just delivering whatever it is that's on there, then you can just copy and paste the message. People can read it later. There's no point for them to listen to you. So when you're speaking about it, speak in a way that makes it more entertaining or makes it easier for people to absorb the information. Just share it as a friend. Because if I saw an article here, I might not read it. But if Ray Shaw was like, hey, Curtis, so yeah, I watched your videos and I really, really think that you should check out this article because it says number one, blah, blah. And I thought that applies to you and you make it personal, then that's much, much more interesting. Hope that answers your question.
Thank you very much.
Okay, great. And I see there's some questions in the chat, so we can go there as well. Let's see what they want to say but are bad at talking it out. How to improve speaking skills. I'm just going to read your last name, okay? Mohan, is that how you pronounce it?
That would be Asha.
Asha. Okay.
Just Asha.
Asha. So if you want to say something and you're bad at speaking it out, just practice is the key. When the camera is off, before you meet everybody, just continue practicing to your friend. What I like to do is, for my camera, I will treat it as a friend, but for you, you can take your cup, you can take your tissues, whatever, give it a name, and say, hello, Max. Today I wanted to share with you why this cup of water is so delicious. And you just kind of share things all throughout the day so that you're used to speaking out. Because a lot of times, as I mentioned before, I grew up as an extreme introvert. So a lot of times I'm always in my head. And if you're asking this question, you may be an introvert as well because everything may sound crystal clear in your mind, everything is organized, but when you speak it out, you're bad at communicating it. And that could also be a language problem. So we'll start with the introvert part. So you want to get used to speaking about whatever it is that you're thinking about, because our thoughts get carried away. Sometimes it jumps around. It's okay to just speak it out. It's okay to let the audience know that, oh, by the way, I just thought of A, B, and C. But let me get back on point. That's much better than if you're just in your own world and then you're not letting people know what's going on. So practice makes perfect. Just at home, make a new friend, keep talking it out. And then if you record yourself speaking, you can also review your tape back and see what it is that you're doing wrong. As for language part, sometimes, because I know in Malaysia, you guys speak so many languages and you're more comfortable in each one. So depending on your audience, it's okay to mix in languages. Like my Chinese videos are in Chinese, but I'll throw in English words in between just because it helps with the flow. And if somebody doesn't understand what I'm talking about, then I will revert back to Chinese and translate it, or I'll have subtitles. But for your sake, look at what your audience understands. It's okay to throw in some of the words that you're more familiar with, or if the language that you're speaking, you have limitations, then just stick with keywords. Keywords are very powerful. You don't have to have a perfect sentence. If you're just telling me points A, B, and C, that's enough to understand. Hope that answers your question. Let me see what else. I find it hard to speak in front of the camera when I'm alone because I feel like I'm talking to myself. How to feel comfortable when I'm talking to the camera. Oh, that's Siki. I hope I pronounced that right. That is the perfect question for, it's like this, it goes along with the other one. Give a name to your camera, give a name to whatever it is you're speaking to. It's a lot easier to speak to Max than it is to just like blabber here. I'm talking over here. Is anybody even listening? Is anybody in this house? Why am I just speaking to this electronic, this cell phone right here? I'm imagining that I'm speaking to all of you right now. And don't make it too nerve-wracking. Just imagine one friend. This can be your imaginary friend, or it can be your best friend. You just want to share something with your best friend. And when you're speaking with your best friend, that's usually when you're most comfortable. That's usually when you can have a little bit of jokes, as well as bring out your personality. Always remember, don't speak like a robot. Speak to your best friend. Anything else?
There is a question from Shafika who says, I think it's not easy to first start doing videos, especially as an introvert. So how did you take the first step to starting videoing and YouTube? And how do you overcome negativity from yourself and from other people about whatever you're doing?
Okay, that's a couple questions in one. Let me, if I miss out on one part just because I'm so deep into one part, remind me, please. So from being an introvert to speaking on camera, I feel like you have to get into your comfort zone of an area. So an introvert, when I'm around a lot of people, in the beginning, I was very shy, so it was hard for me to speak out. But as an introvert, I'm sure there's some areas in your life that you're very comfortable speaking about. I've seen some very, very talkative and loud introverts, but only on topics that interest them. So maybe it's cooking, maybe it's sewing, maybe it's this video game, maybe it's this anime, maybe it's this concert that you really love. So as an introvert, you want to start out by focusing on things that you're super passionate about, that you have a million things to say. That way you don't have to think about the perfect way to talk about it because there's so much you want to share already. And speaking in front of a camera, that takes some practice of getting out of your head, getting out of being perfect. You don't want to be perfect. A lot of times we want to present our best self, but just understand that you are enough just the way you are. A lot of times when we're growing up, we get a lot of input from outside people about judgment, about you have to present yourself this way. If you do that, that looks bad. You have to save face. Oh, you're not good enough. Do you think you can compare with all those people? Those are just the opinions of other people. The truth is, anybody and everyone has something of value to say, and they're able to communicate it. And not everybody has to do video, by the way. Before I move on to how to get better at speaking in front of a camera and videos, you can communicate through video. You can communicate through just audio as well. That's why the radio even exists. That's why there's a bunch of podcasts right now. Podcasts are amazing, by the way, because as video, I need to look at you guys right now, but a podcast, I could be working out at the same time, I could be cooking, I could be driving. And there's a lot more reason to listen to a podcast over a video. A video is for people that, for example, your expressions, or sometimes you're bringing something to the visual aspect. And so if you're not comfortable with audio, perhaps it's written words or you're typing. It's okay to write blogs. It's okay to write articles. It's okay to write out things. People still love to consume through books. They love to read, and it's different for everybody. So find out what it is that you're most comfortable with. And to get back to the video part, the way that I got used to speaking on camera was really by recording hundreds and hundreds of videos. So as Denise mentioned earlier, I was an actor before in Taiwan, and I had filmed in a couple movies, TV shows, commercials. But I remember my very first drama that I filmed in, it took me a very long time to get the part through castings and everything. And I was so nervous. I didn't have proper training with the camera. So I remember the director, the main actress, she's the main actress of the drama, so she is a big shot. I'm just an insert. I just have a couple lines. And she's sitting right next to me. The camera is right here. We're sitting in the car. People are around with the microphone. There's basically, you see on camera, there's 2 people in the car, but there's probably 30 people all around the car. And I'm just nerve-wracking. And then the director goes, 5, 4, 3, and then he stops. And then I'm waiting for the 3, 2, 1 action, right? Because most of us, when we watch movies, all we hear is 3, 2, 1 action. And then I'm looking at the actress. She's looking at me. Everybody else is staring at me. All eyes on me. I was like, well, what is going on? Is it like the director making a mistake? And then until I hear, the heck are you waiting for? Like, it's taking you way too long to get in the mood, because sometimes they give the actor a few seconds before they get into the role. It was actually my mistake, because in TV dramas, in Taiwan at least, they begin by 5, 4, 3, and then they don't say the 2, 1 or action. So a lot of these things is just getting comfortable with all these people watching you, getting comfortable with what are the rules to the game. So there's a lot of rules to recording yourself in a camera as well. You don't really want a shaky camera. This doesn't feel comfortable to people. You don't want it to be too stationed. Occasionally, I may take you guys around. There's a lot of different things you can play with. So my number 1 tip is Google. I learned every single thing I know from pretty much YouTube search. How to edit a video, how to be more precise, how to edit this, how to say A through Z. So instead of me giving you a bunch of how-tos, you can look that up on Google. I want to give you more of the mindset, the things that you may not find on YouTube is every time you record a video, you get better, especially if you're being real. You can begin by imitating, because that's something that I did, but don't get stuck in the I have to pretend to be somebody else. So for example, if you enjoy my videos and I may do a lot of hand movements or something, maybe you're like, hey everyone, my name is Curtis, like, or sometimes, and I remember at the beginning I tried to be all over the top because I wanted to make sure people were interested when I had to say. I had to be very loud. I had to be, hello, Fula family, blah, blah, and just being overly excited because I was afraid that what I had to say wasn't of value. So it's okay to start out that way, but just understand that towards the end, if you're just being yourself, you're very interesting. You don't have to speak loud. The volume of your voice does not represent the impact that your video gives. I have one video that was just sharing a story about a past relationship, and that one, there was no yelling at all. It was very calm, speaking to just a friend. It has over 1 million views. And people were very touched by it, not because of how loud I was, just because of how genuine I was. So just be genuine with your videos, and that is enough. Okay, hope that answers your question.
You've got a couple more, starting with
great.
Michelle, who asks, what's the check and balance when presenting or coming up with content? Michelle is there.
Okay, hello, Michelle. Hello, Michelle, and I know Michelle. Presenting or coming out with content. So I'm not 100% clear on your question, but from what I understand of it, is how often to...
If you keep presenting every time, if you keep presenting and we're trying to get the content out or a message out, how do we know at the end of the day that is the best message to reach out to more people?
Okay, how to get the best message. I got it. I got you, Michelle. So there is no best message, and there's always tomorrow, and there's always the next upload. If you mess up on this one, it's fine. You have the next video to upload. Right now, we are in the golden time. So this is for every single one of you, especially if you're in college right now. I'm so jealous of you because you have so many more years than me. You're so much younger. Right now, it's the beginning stage of the internet. When I grew up, there was no internet. I feel so old saying this, but right now you may feel like, oh, there's all these people on social media and it's like I have no chance to catch up, but right now is in the prime time. And right now it's free to upload videos. I mentioned this in a previous video. Just imagine if it cost 1 ringgit to upload a video. What would most people do? I would still pay because I have to. If I can't reach my audience, I can't reach my audience. My career is over. My just speaking to people, reaching people, my sharing my passion, all of that ends. I would have to pay whatever amount they request. We're lucky that YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, whatever it is that you enjoy is all free to upload. So if you want to share a message right now and you missed out on one part, who's to stop you from making another video? Hey, by the way, on that video, I forgot to mention point A, point B. I wanted to really share that. That's super important. I can't believe I forgot that. Upload. There you go. So there is no perfect message. You don't want to get stuck by perfection. I think that imperfection is the best. That shows the real you. What got me more audience, more people following me was when I was willing to share my mistakes, when I was willing to let them see, oh, I'm actually a human too. I'm not just a formal broadcaster. I wanted to know what you are like, Michelle, what type of worries that you have. How did you overcome your struggles? What is your day like? What are your interests? Those little real things. You don't want to share every little boring detail, but you want to share those real moments where somebody may get an insight into your life, or they may have some relatability. Because as a video creator or someone in front of other people, you can bring value to your audience in so many ways. You can just be a friend. Sometimes some videos that we watch, they have no information value at all, but we just feel so comfortable just watching that person cook. They're not even teaching us how to cook. Wow, I just feel so relaxed watching them eat. I'm not gaining anything, but I just feel good. It makes me forget about my life. And then some content we consume is informative. So if you want to go with informative, then you have to be very clear about points A through Z. Or you can be entertaining. If you're a funny person, you can totally go off script. Everything you say, everything you do is funny. That's fine. Just be clear about what it is that you want to bring to the table. And then when you're sure of the rules that you're playing within, then you're free to be however you want to be. But don't worry about the perfection. There's always next video. Hope that answers your question, Michelle.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Ayman is asking, I guess this is in terms of not YouTube, but when they're in class and they have to give presentations.
Yes.
How do we make our presentations, our live presentations, more effective and to the point without, I guess what he's asking is, how do we know what is the main point and what are things that we can leave out? I guess.
Okay. Thanks for asking our question, Ayman. So the way that I see a presentation is kind of like when you're writing an essay. There's an introduction. What are you talking about today? You probably have a hook in there to captivate the audience. Just in videos, I feel like with every single thing, it's the same. I always have a teaser in the front of my video. It's kind of like something before your presentation. It's like, did you know we're gonna have robots next year, or something like that's just crazy, or something that your presentation will bring value to let them know right away why they should tune in and listen. And then so you have the introduction, you have the middle, and the middle is where you have all the different points, and then you just have a conclusion. So it helps to write it down before your speech. You can write an essay if that helps you out, or you can just have bullet points of exactly what you want to speak about. And just make sure that each one really brings to make a point of what you want to talk about. So are you trying to let people know that social media is the future? Or are you trying to let people know that exercise is really important to our life? Are you trying to let people know what topics Denise, what topics are people learning that applies to the students here maybe?
Oh, it depends on which semester they're in. So semester 1 could be learning things like math or management, introduction to management. Semester 2, a whole bunch of social science subjects, sociology, global studies. Semester
Okay.
3, psychology, writing.
Got it. So for example, you're making a presentation about psychology and you want to prove a point. Why is it that people forget what they want to say when they're expressing themselves? I'm totally off of my head. That's not the point, but you're trying to prove a point. So everything that you talk about in your presentation should be towards that main point, should be to prove that. And anything else you can take out. Whatever it is that is on your mind, take that out. It's not important. So your speech is to prove that point and why they should believe you. And if you just focus on that, then everything is okay. The rest is your personality. Of course, if you're bringing your personality in, I feel like that's always a plus. Don't worry about that too much, unless you're just super talkative and you go way off topic. Otherwise, a little bit of your personality is always icing on top. Is that clear enough? I hope.
Well, if it's not clear, Ayman will let us know in chat. Atika has, I think, a related question. So sometimes when we're talking or presenting, we go blank and forget our points, maybe because of nervousness. So do you have any tips on how to deal with that kind of situation when just your mind goes completely blank?
So it's okay to let the audience know that your mind has gone blank. Oh, oops, my mind has gone blank. It's okay to state it out. People can tell anyway. There's no need to hide it. The more you try to hide that you did an oopsie, the more awkward it is. It's okay to accept that. To better prepare yourself, though, I'm not sure if you guys are allowed to bring note cards, but sometimes you can just put down some bullet points of not the whole paragraph, not every single word, just maybe one key word to remind you of the speaking points. So I actually, I don't know if I can turn my camera real quick. Never mind, it's okay. I don't want to turn this off by accident. But so I wrote some points of what I wanted to talk about. And then basically I just have to read the first word and I know how to move on from there because you've done your homework. If you're ready for a presentation, you know exactly what you want to talk about. So let's say I put for the first word, mindset. Then I know that I want to talk about the mentality that goes behind making a video or having a presentation or speaking in front of people, how to have that confidence. And the next word, I just see self-love. So once I hear that key word, I know the next part, what I want to talk about. You want a word that helps you immediately remember the rest of the paragraph. because that's the most important. If you're blanking out, it's because you're nervous and you forget where you are. You don't even know what comes next. How do I connect it? Where do I go from here? If you just have that next connection, that one word or that phrase, that will lead you on to all the other stuff that you know. So that is, I hope that helps. Let me think if there's anything else. Practice. The more you practice, the easier it is. That's a given, as well as leading your last sentence to the next. So it helps if in your presentation point A kind of leads you to point B. If I'm talking about the reason why everybody should go on social media, and my first point was because it's free and it may cost money in the future, and my next point would be, so what would happen if it costs money in the future? It's kind of like link your points together. Don't let them jump around too much that it's hard to stay connected in your mind. So you can order your presentation in a way that it helps guide you to the next part. Hope that answers your question.
She's saying thank you, so I think that answers it.
Okay, great.
I have a question actually,
Okay.
which is not just for video and presentation, but basically in general. Oh, hang on. My question can wait. Vijaya has a question. If a lecturer suddenly asks me a question, I can't seem to answer it there and then. So is there a way to like recover from that? Like if Miss Denise surprises me with a question and I don't have the answer, what would you suggest that they do?
So it depends. If you don't have the answer, it's okay to say, I don't have the answer. I don't know. It's okay to be honest. However, if it's something that you do know, but you're just nervous, yeah, you could run as well. You could die. So you could do all of that. But if it's a problem that you totally, in any other day, you can answer this, but you're just nervous and you can't answer it on the spot, then you need to become more comfortable with yourself. Believe that what you have, it goes back to believing in yourself, that what you have to say is of value. There is no such thing as a perfect answer. And even if you did have a perfect answer, no one would care. It doesn't make a difference between that one than the one you genuinely believe. And if that fails, you can hide in level 10 gym. And your question, Denise?
Sem 1 and Sem 2, please learn better lessons from your seniors.
I have a question.
Hi.
Hi. So what is your thought on people who talks in front of the mirror by themselves, like because they wanted to boost their self-confidence when making videos, but then being labeled as a person who's not in the right mind? Because I think that often happens to like person who wants to, practice and so on. So, yeah.
So just to be clear on your question, so somebody is practicing in front of the mirror, talking to themselves a lot, and other people think that they're crazy, or? Yeah?
Yeah.
Oh, for whoever is willing to look in front of the mirror and talk to themselves and seem crazy, I just applaud them. They're doing a good job. The rest of the people, they're just judging because they're not putting in that work. It takes effort and it takes confidence and it takes a lot of courage to do that, especially if you're doing that in front of other people. That's a really good thing. You're practicing. So don't mind the people. You're the one that's improving. And if you can do that in front of other people, you're even on a different level. You're not even doing it at home. If you can do it in front of other people, great. You're practicing performing in front of them. Just imagine you're putting on a show, that's fine. Or you're doing it for yourself. They're invisible. It's a great thing. I think in college, not as much as high school and middle school, but we are still being shaped of who we are as a person and what's acceptable, and we have to fit in because we're kind of still in that enclosure. Take it from an old person. I'm kind of old now compared to my college days. None of the fitting in really plays out. None of it really matters. It's okay to be that awkward person. It's okay to be weird. It's okay to have your own interest. It's okay to be completely different. That is actually what helps you stand out and become successful or become unique in the future. That is the value that you bring, especially in the workforce or when you're looking for a job, or if you want to be an influencer. You need to stand out. You need to be unique. If you're just the same as everyone else and doing what they do, then that makes you no different. But if you're that one person that's able to overcome the awkwardness and willing to put in the work to speak in front of the mirror, people admire that, and you're also an inspiration to others. So continue doing that.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome. You're awesome.
AJ has a question.
Okay, AJ?
Do you have any tips about not being too serious every time we talk in front of the camera? Because we can't see how everyone else is reacting. We can't see if they're smiling or not. Sometimes it creates a lot of tension.
Okay. I personally have a lot of problems with this as well. Is it AJ or AJ? Yeah.
Yeah.
So I'm a very serious person. I may not seem so, but whatever I do, I get so serious about it and just trying to focus. It helps to throw some jokes in, just have fun. I think that's the most important. You need to have fun with whatever it is that you're doing. It's okay if you have a serious tone, but if you're having fun, it at least lightens the whole mood. I think that comes with being comfortable with yourself as well, and the perfection thing. I'm not sure the reason that you're so serious, AJ, because it's different for everyone. But for me, my seriousness, one, comes from my personality. Two, it comes from wanting to be perfect. I don't want to make a fool out of myself. So I put up this serious tone so that I don't have any mistakes. Just my seriousness is kind of like a shield for me. You know, this is no time to joke around. I'm talking about something serious here. So you guys don't make fun of me, okay? And so that kind of puts people off. So just relax, have a good time, and imagine you're speaking to a friend as usual. Just imagine the tissue box whenever you guys are stuck like that. Yeah, hello, Max. That's the best tip that I could give you. Just enjoy your speech. It's an honor to have people listen to you. You know how hard it is to get people to listen to you? When they're forced to listen to you because of a presentation, it is a gift. You may feel like, oh my gosh, I'm so nervous. Why is all this attention on me? It is a gift. So many people wish to be heard, especially after you graduate from college. No one wants to listen to you anymore. You may feel like, oh, these influencers, they have all these people listening. It's still hard for me to get people to listen to me. I have to be clear about what I want to say, make sure I bring value. But when you're giving that presentation in school, they are forced to sit there. You could talk about anything and they have to wait until the end of your presentation to really say, hey, that wasn't even the right topic. Like, why did you tell me that? Why did I have to listen to that for an hour or 10 minutes or however long? You know, it's a gift. You can say whatever it is that is on your mind. You can present any ideas that other people may be against, or it may be a new idea or something that you just wanted to bring to the table, some ideas you had, but no one was willing to hear it. So cherish that, have fun with it. Don't take it too seriously. Okay, hope that helps.
I think it did. Yes. Yes,
Great.
she says it does. Vijaya is asking, how do you overcome, let's say you're presenting and there's a particular point where you thought you could explain it and you have your notes, but at the time your brain just isn't cooperating and you're standing there looking at your classmates waiting for you to continue and you can't. Like there's just a block. Suddenly, out of nowhere, there seems to be a block. How can I overcome that kind of situation?
That's a wonderful question, Vijaya. So that happens in making videos as well. So in making videos, it's easier because I can just edit it out. In real life, you want to, like I mentioned earlier, you want to acknowledge it, and it's okay to move on first. Let the audience know that you are stuck. Put them on your side. It's not you against them. They're there to support you. The more that you're letting them feel your feelings and they can empathize with you, instead of guessing what is going on and judging, the more that they support you to have a better presentation. So you can say something like, I forget what I was talking about, but I will get back to you as soon as I remember. Let me just get on to the next point. You can continue your presentation without wasting anybody's time, because like I said, it's a very good opportunity, and it's very valuable time to have all these people listening to you. You are forcing them to have your attention. So deliver something useful. If you're not remembering what you want to say, bring them value in a different way first, and then get back to it. Perfectly fine. Or you can simply even ask them, does anybody know blah, blah? No? Okay, let me move on from there, and then I will get back to you when I do remember. Because if you're just figuring things out on the stage and you're taking a long time, you're losing their attention. As much as the students in your classroom are supportive, we are people. When we get bored, we're just gonna go do other stuff. I'm just gonna go on my cell phone. It's why I keep asking you guys questions, because when I'm answering your personal question, at least for you, you will listen. For the other people, yeah, they may doze off, they may do other stuff, they may check the email, then that's fine. If I'm just going on speaking about what I want to talk about, and I'm not focusing on the value I bring to you, then it's easy to just doze off. So whenever you're giving a presentation, always remember that you're bringing value to them. You're trading value, you're trading information, you're trading entertainment, whatever it is, for their attention. It's a trade.
Okay, Vijaya, I hope you were listening. Asha has another question.
Okay.
If we are asked to speak impromptu, how do we go about that? Because if we're presenting, we can prepare and practice beforehand, but impromptu speaking has no notes. You're just expected to speak on the spot. So are there any tips, or is there any way of doing that?
Yes. Well? So as you mentioned, practice beforehand. However, it depends on the topic. Impromptu speaking, I can speak about things right now that I'm very knowledgeable and have a lot of experience in. But if you all of a sudden ask me to speak impromptu about what is life like within Unirazak, and I have no knowledge, I maybe attended one class just for fun, but I don't really know anything about what life is like. I don't know how it feels like to be a student there. I couldn't give you a speech. I couldn't give you an impromptu speech about that. So number one would be to get clear and get a lot of knowledge about what it is that you're speaking on. And then once you have all that homework done, then you practice at home. You just throw out a word, and then you can continue speaking. You can speak in front of the mirror, you can speak to your tissue box, whatever it is that you have, and then you just jump around. So instead of going from A to B, you can even ask a friend. So I'm talking about, because my knowledge is mostly on social media right now. So somebody could ask me, Facebook. Okay, then I would tell you about the audience that I usually have there, and I would share information about what videos do well, what posts I noticed, my learning experience, and then they throw me a different word, and then I keep practicing that way as opposed to practicing A through Z. You get, number one, you get knowledgeable about that topic. Number two, either with a friend or yourself, you just jump from topic to topic and you get used to expanding on that. And if you always just focus on bringing value to the listener, then you'll be fine. Great.
Okay. Asha, you all right? Okay. Okay, noted. Thank you, sir, she says.
You're welcome.
Um, sorry, I had a question.
Yeah.
Because what we're doing now is we're talking about things that interest us, that motivate us personally.
Yes.
What if a lecturer gives them a topic that they are completely unenthusiastic about and they're just not interested in it, but it's an assignment, so they have to do it?
Yes.
How would you motivate yourself if it's a topic that you're kind of not interested in?
That's a great question because I've been out of school for so long and I've been out of that scenarios that I haven't thought about it. However, if that were the situation for me and I was back in college and I had the advice from myself now, I would tell myself that it's think long term. So in the short term, it's such a pain. I don't want to do this. This is not something that's going to help me. This is not something I'm interested in. But if I think in the long term, this is a practice for me to deliver. This is a stepping stone to get me to my next step. So college, a lot of courses, a lot of classes that you don't like, that are maybe mandatory, you don't have to like them. And yes, they may not bring you the value that you want, but they're a way to, one, prove to yourself as well as prove to others that you are a diligent worker, you're committed to finishing the entire course. They also allow you to build your research skills because it's something you're not interested in. So you have a different angle. So just think in the long term that this is just a process. And then if you just get through here, then you can get to the good part. It's like a kid having vegetables and their favorite food on the dish. If I can just finish eating all of this, I can get to my favorite dessert or my favorite piece of meat, whatever it is. Sometimes it's just something that you have to get through. Yes, Miss D.
Thank you. Practice, yeah, guys. I think we've got time for a few more questions. So Kai is asking, is it okay to speak even though our grammar is not correct or not perfect?
Kai, it depends on which class you're in. If you're in English class, then probably not. If you're in Miss Grace class, she'll probably tell you how to speak correctly. However, if you're just giving a presentation, I think it's perfectly okay to speak with poor grammar. Just focus on the key words. Especially within Malaysia, people know so many languages and they understand you may not be fluent in 100% in each one. The point of the presentation is to get the point across. So if I'm just focused on why, because of this and that, then it's okay. It's like me giving directions to someone to go to the restroom when we can't communicate with each other. If I can just say toilet, there, 2 words, or toilet, point. There's no correct grammar there, but I understand what that person is saying or they understand me, then that's okay.
Okay.
Yep.
All right. Thank you, she says. Vijaya has one question. Zach has another question.
Okay, great. Bring it on.
I think I'll start with Zach's question.
Okay.
How do we change the vibe of the conversation if the person we're talking to, has no expression? Like you don't really know if they're listening or not, and as you go on, they just continue having that lack of expression, lack of feedback. What do we do?
Joshua, that is tough. That is super tough. So if I were speaking to an entire class and there's 90% people giving me this, I would look for that one person that's actually listening, and I would just speak to that one person. So if you had that choice, you don't have to please everyone. If there's one person interested in what you're talking about, that's fine. However, if you're having a one-on-one conversation and they're expressionless, that is super tough. Perhaps if you can stop, you can ask them. Because if it's just a one-on-one conversation, is what I'm saying boring? Is there something on your mind? maybe it has nothing to do with you. Maybe they just had a bad day. Maybe something happened at home. And if you don't understand what it is that's going on with them, then of course they're not in the mood to listen to you. And if they say, oh, I'm very interested, I just have this expression on this face, then you totally understand. So since you're dealing with another person, it's important to know what it is that they're going on. Like, yeah, it's important to know what's the situation with them.
Okay, thanks. Joshua, I think, is coming from another angle. So now we've been always talking about presenting and speaking.
Yes.
How do we, as students, overcome our sleepiness and from yawning when the class gets kind of boring? Is there any way to motivate ourselves back to focusing on the speaker or the lecturer in class?
Okay. When I was in school, there was a lot of things that made me bored as well. I think it's tougher for you guys because we didn't have as much knowledge on the internet as you guys do. So a lot of times when you're in class, you feel like I can learn this elsewhere, or this is not important to me. And then you doze off, and then you don't focus. So definitely give you guys credit for the hard work that you're putting in. To get back to your point, to stay more interested, I think there's two ways. One, you just force yourself to study because you want to pass the class. If you're thinking long term, I need to at least pass or do well in this class so that I can get to the part that I really want to get to do what I really want to do, enjoy. However, if you're looking to enjoy the class more, then instead of, this may not be the best answer with teachers listening, but this is something that I did. So, for example, if the teacher that was teaching was very boring in class, what I would do is focus on other things. Why is this teacher so boring? And I try to analyze why the teacher is so boring instead of what they're actually teaching. And then I also think, oh, why is he speaking that way? And then maybe I look around the class. I mean, this will keep you awake at least, but it may not help you absorb the information. If you need to pass the class, you still need to absorb that. However, just going at a different angle of learning will keep your mind entertained and keep you interested in the class at least. Lectures, find it. Oh, so yeah, so you go at it at a different angle, and or even think, if I were to give this presentation, how would I make it more interesting? So the teacher, she just spoke 2 sentences that were super long and boring. And then in my mind, it would be like, oh, I can cut that down to 2 words. And then basically what you've done is you've summarized what teacher taught into 2 words. You've worked on your presentation skills, and then you've also got something for your mind to benefit from. So if it were me, and I don't know if that's the best advice, I would just learn, try to get something out of nothing, because there's always something to gain. Hopefully that helps you.
I think it will. I think it will. Speaking as a teacher. I think we can wrap up with this. It's not the lecturers who are boring, it's my mind. Joshua, I'm not sure if you're using this correctly. My mind is boozed off and tired, and there's too much input.
Okay, let me just answer that quickly. It may come from lack of sleep or sleeping too late. So that's number one. If take care of that if you haven't already, because as a student you need to, as everybody, you need to get enough sleep and then also sleep early. The other thing is, because of social media, we're constantly getting information input, as you're saying, so that it's very tiring. All these things are running through our brain, and then when you're listening in class, it's just more information. So what helps is to meditate. I mean, it may sound really weird to young folks, why should I meditate? But it's not only to calm yourself, it's also to clear up all that useless information, give your mind some time to organize. Out of all the millions of inputs that I got today through Facebook, through all these advertisements walking around, through listening to Curtis talk, through this advertisement, through all of this info, what should I remember? What can be forgotten? How can I remember it more easily? And then you just kind of calm your mind. It's like an information dump. Your computer needs to restart so you can reset your brain as well. And then by doing that before class, then you're ready to store more information.
Okay. Sis, thank you very much.
Miss, I have a question.
Okay. Okay. I know we're nearly at 12 o'clock, but we'll go with Raj first and then Hadi. Okay, Raj, go ahead.
Hello.
Hello, Raj.
Hello, I have a question, sir.
Hi.
So my question is that during this pandemic, right?
Yes.
We are required to record our presentation at home. So during when I record my presentation, I obviously have a paper written everything about the presentation. So instead of just looking at the camera, I look at the paper and just read it up from the paper. So do you have any tips that I should make an eye contact during my presentation?
Yes. So again, with the note cards, instead of having your entire paper,
yes,
I would write down maybe one word for each part. And then, so this is my note card. And then I'm giving my presentation. In the beginning, of course, in the first part, you know everything. And let's say I finish that sentence and I don't know what to say next. So I will pause for a second and just look at that one key word. I won't read out anything. I won't read this. I wait, I look at that word, and then I know what my next part is. And then I get back to you guys and I continue. I think it's perfectly okay to stop as long as you're not reading off. So let's say I'm giving you this advice right now, and right now I'm like, okay, so yeah, you want to do A, B, and C. That's kind of it's not very respectable. However, if I'm giving my presentation to you, you can stop, read your note card real quick. I come back to your attention, and then I continue. Then that's perfectly okay.
Okay, thank
Does that
you,
answer your
sir.
question?
Yes, thank you. Thank
Great.
you so much.
Great.
All right, Hadi, go ahead.
Okay, hi, my name is Hadi. So you can call me Hadi. So like we know, to get a lot of viewers, subscribers on YouTube, like you, is quite hard, right? It took a long time to achieve it. So now, like we know, TikTok become worldwide, and we can see people who do any content at TikTok can get a lot of viewers, followers more easier than they do at YouTube. Because for me, YouTube is look like more formal lah. So my question is, do you prefer we start do any content on TikTok to start build our confidence? My second question is, do you have any tips? What kind of content should we do? And my last question is, do you have a TikTok account?
Okay. So to answer your first question, do all of them. Post on TikTok, post on YouTube, post on Instagram, everything. There's nothing stopping you. Like I said earlier, it's free. It's okay. Posting more does not ruin your chances of getting better. You don't need to have a perfect track record. You could have 0 views, 2 views, 10 views, 1 million views. That's perfectly okay. Number 2, I personally, I think for TikTok, I haven't been really posting there. I have a TikTok account to answer your number 3, but it's very not active. And that's because I haven't found what I want to post there because I've been so focused on the other stuff. But if I were to give myself advice, I would tell myself to hurry up and post on TikTok because it has such a big exposure. However, to get back to your point of what you should post there, for YouTube, I definitely feel like personal stuff is really great. If you're just sharing about what your college life is like, because I don't know. To you, college life is very normal. All your friends are like that. But I don't know what it's like to be a college student during the MCO right now. Sharing that personal stuff, that personal touch, is very YouTube. YouTube is all about getting away from the television. It's about you as a person able to turn on the camera right now and then speak to your audience. So being personal on YouTube is the best. For TikTok, you can do this as on YouTube as well, but more for TikTok and these fast-paced apps. I would say if your goal is just to have a lot of people view you, then just go with the trend. That is the easiest way. It may not build the long-lasting audience that a YouTube and being personal can. However, it's the fastest way to get picked up. You go to the trending page, you see what's popping, and then you put your own spin on it. Don't just straight up copy, but add a little bit of your twist. And if you just keep on doing that, the TikTok page will just automatically help you. Hope that helps.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Hadi. Okay, before we get into some war on what is better, TikTok or Instagram or YouTube, because I can see people already getting antsy in chat. Thank you so much to Curtis for spending time with us and sharing with us. I mean, they already know you're a YouTuber, but where can they find you and where can they get more of you, I suppose, is the question.
Okay, so before I give you that information, can I add a little bit of stuff to the social media?
Yes.
I just have so number one, I feel like this is super important. This is why I wanted to tell you guys. Social media, in my opinion, is the future. So each one of you, no matter what it is that you want to do in the future, you don't have to be an influencer at all. You can stay far away from that. But building your brand on social media will be super beneficial to any job that you want. Because it's basically the business card, the resume of our generation. So in my generation, it was always about building my resume and then showing it to the company, showing it to other people. Nowadays, when I meet someone new, I don't ask them personally about their work experience. I really look at their social media to see what they've produced. If I'm looking for a real estate agent, I may look to see if they have content around real estate. I may look to see things that they've shared, houses that they've introduced, all of that. That's their resume. So if I'm looking for a psychologist, I would trust a psychologist that has a bunch of valuable free content online, because you guys mentioned psychology earlier. Someone that has a lot of content revolved around that. I already know that person before I met them. So compared to just another name on the list, I would pick them to work with. And it's the same with an architect. If I can just view on your social media different things that you've designed, different things, models that you've created, then I would trust you more. It's really, don't think of social media just as, unless you want to just be an influencer, don't think about all the trending stuff. Think of it as an opportunity to showcase what you are good at or what you're passionate about. It can be about anything. Social media is not just what's popular. You don't have to be the biggest social media star to benefit from it. You could have just 100 followers about your designs. And to those 100 people, you can sell your designs to. And also just by putting, let's say I want to be an artist. I just have my page all about my works. It gives me a much bigger opportunity to reach out to the right people and get seen than anyone else. And so that number one is why I recommend each and every one of you to have a social media, whether it's through, I said, video, audio, or written. It's okay if you write. Doesn't matter. But you want to begin building your personal brand, whether it's your name or something you want to do in the future. 10 years down the road, it will be very helpful to you, whether you're looking for a job, whether you're starting your own business, whatever it is that you want to do, because you learn so much stuff along the way. You have to learn how to market your posts, your content. You have to learn the title, the thumbnail. You have to learn what it is that people want. How do you reach people? So all of that is super valuable and can just help you. And the other part about, there's always this war of what's better, is YouTube better, is Facebook better, is TikTok better, is Instagram better, is LinkedIn better, all of that. Yes, you can just have fun chit chat around it. But if you really want to benefit from that, I would say focus on where the attention is. It's not really about what platform is better. These platforms come and go. I've seen Vine in my generation, and that was the previous TikTok. That blew up, that went away. But you may say, oh, this is temporary, this is blah, blah. But many people, they got the attention from Vine and they brought it along with them to Instagram, to YouTube, and they've continued their career. It doesn't matter about the platform. If YouTube were to disappear today, I would seek to bring my audience to the next platform. That's all there is to it. The platform is not that important. It's about where can I get people to see my stuff. So yeah, forget what's the best platform. Just do it all. Content is free to upload. Just imagine a day where you have to pay. You would still pay. And with that, my Instagram is at the Curtis Fu, just THE before my name, the Curtis Fu. And if you want to watch some of my vlogs, which are a little more exciting than just me talking to the camera, because my Curtis Fu YouTube account is really me just sharing my thoughts, daily diary. I wanted to make it as casual as possible. If you want to see some vlogs, you can go to my Chinese channel, Fu Love, and I've been posting with Chinese and English subtitles. So those of you that read English, you can watch that as well. It's FU, my last name, space LOVE, love. Yeah, thanks YC. And yeah, I think, or Facebook, you can reach me at as well. So hopefully that wraps things up.
Thank you very, very much. Last question, I suppose, would you be open to us inviting you again to talk more about building a brand on social media or comparing social media platforms? I think somehow I see a lot of students being like, I want to know more about that, etc.
Yeah, I'd be totally open. It's an honor to be able to speak with all of you. Like I said, it's a gift when people are willing to hear you speak. So I thank you all.
All right, then I guess that's a wrap. Thank you so much, Curtis, again for joining us and for sharing with us. Thank you, everybody, for joining us, whether you're
everyone
or not. There's a lot of thank yous in chat, so we will call it here. All right, everybody, take care. Have a good day.
Have a good day.
Rest of us will see you all next week.
Okay.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.
All right. Thank you, Curtis.
Thanks,
Bye.
Chris. Bye.
Thank you.
Take care,
everyone.
Mr. Curtis. Wherever you are situated, take care.
Okay, you too.
Oh, okay, it's gone.
Okay. I'm going to end the recording now.
All right.
Bye, man.
Bye.